We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 452. I am your man behind the microphone and your current Scholars of Wrestling World Champion. I am Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week is the original OG Undisputed Scholar. He puts the undisputed in Undisputed Scholar, you might say. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how's life treating you, sir?
I indeed put the undisputed in undisputed scholar. I like that.
Hey,
That is a good introduction. Thank you, champ.
a a new faction debuts with undisputed plastered all over it.
Oh,
Hey,
there's plenty to say about that and my reaction to it
I
at that show that we went to.
I am not one for inflating your ego any more than I already must, but you know what? I got to give credit where it's due. That was pretty dope. I feel happy for you. I'm happy
Oh,
for you.
thank you. And with that, boom.
Ah, Scholar Tarek, baby. But anyway, it wouldn't be as a Scholars of Wrestling show without, last but not least, another of the undisputed scholars. He is Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how you feeling tonight, sir?
Took a week off to recalibrate. I think we all did. So it's yeah, ready to go. Got some was really kind of a boring 2 weeks, really. Not a lot happened, but there was some good stuff. So
Oh, there absolutely was. This is not only the first Scholars of Wrestling of 2024, but Scholars Tarek and I we were actually able to kick things off right with the by heading first to the first AEW Dynamite of the first of the new year. That we're gonna get to all of that and what that experience is and what the AEW's got cooking for during the past couple weeks. But first, we have some unfinished business to attend to. Scholar Tarek, let me just put this down for one quick moment because you have an announcement to make, the final announcement left over from 2023. Fool, the floor is yours.
Thank thank you, fool. All right, as Jeff said, the last thing that we can really say about 2023 is if you watched the Scullies 2 weeks ago, we didn't do the announcement of the Scholar of the Year. But that was mainly because we still had the World's End pay-per-view to add to that tally. So thank you, AEW. God damn it. Uh, with that, let us go ahead and count, read out the scores and announce who is the Scholar of the Year of 2023. All right, start at number 5. We have Scholar Jeremy with 145 points. In
Applause.
applause, yeah. Golf clap, golf clap. All right, in fourth place with 159 points is the Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion, Scholar
I knew
Jeff.
it. I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
Yeah, golf clap. Congratulations, fool.
Hey,
Congratulations.
my heart doesn't earn me points, but it does get me gold. I'll take it.
You still need points, fool, because you've been champion a number of times. You haven't been Scholar of the Year yet.
Hey, this year is a whole new year. I'm willing to take it. Continue.
All
we
right.
say that every year.
Every year until it happens.
To be fair, you could have had it 1 year, but you missed one prediction show that pretty much just cost you everything. Oh, that was
Eh,
the sad one. I
don't
forgot what
remind.
year. I honestly forgot what year it was.
I want to say like maybe 2 years ago.
I
I think
pro
it might have. I think it might have actually been the COVID year.
Possibly.
Well,
All right.
everyone's life is going to shit, and so is my championship reign.
Mm.
It goes with the 2020.
So is your, or more so, so is your chances of being Scholar of the Year. All right.
Nipples. Continue.
In third place with 174 points is Scholar Brian. Last year, the last 2 years, Scholar of the Year. now in third place. In second place with 177 points, it was a close one. Scholar Charlie.
Ah, of course.
Of course, indeed. That's why we told you off camera. We were really looking forward to having him on the show just to get that reaction.
All
Stays
right,
in house,
here
baby.
it comes.
And with that, the Scholar of the Year remains undisputed with me as the 2023 Scholar of the Year with 188 points. The Rumble game really helped me this year.
So here's the
Oh,
question:
that
how
Royal
many
Rumble
years in a
game.
row? How many years in a row has Scholar of the Year been undisputed?
Every year.
Every year.
Every year. It's been either you or me, Brian. The first couple years were me, the next couple years were you, and then we just traded off. Just continue to trade it off.
Yeah, you guys need to start breaking in here, man. This is it'll never be boring. What am I trying to say?
It's just the question. Like, who will top the undisputed scholars as Scholar of the Year?
That's
Brian,
okay.
there's a simple
That's
answer to
okay.
that. Nobody.
Nobody.
It'll always be us, baby. Undisputed.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. The Royal Rumble is just around the corner. Anything can happen and is the happiest time of the wrestling year. Well, in contention for second place, maybe. But hey, anything can happen. Scholar Turek, congratulations on another great year. But now the clock is reset. Anything can happen now. And yeah, I am coming for every single accolade that I can get my greedy golem-like paws on. So
I think all you need,
stay
let's see.
tuned.
I think all you need is Scholar of the Year, if I recall, because you were a Rumble winner.
I am a Rumble game winner. I am a multi-time Scholars of Wrestling champion. I
You've
am
won the party belt.
a one-time
Did
party
he,
belt
did he
holder.
win the beef case?
I have not
No,
won the beef case.
you need to
You
win the
need the
beef.
beef
Yeah,
Case,
beef case,
Scholar of the Year.
and then
That's
you
all
can,
I need.
and then you can be one of us, one of
One
us,
of us.
one
of
of
me.
us.
One of me.
Hey, let's get the OG Scholars as undisputed.
Mhm.
We're rooting for you, fool.
Until the time
Don't let
comes when
Charlie
you can
steal your
take the
thunder.
belt. Oh,
Honestly, I'm hoping you win the beef case this year.
I'm hoping I do too, because that again, I feel like there's been too much of a monopoly there too. I gotta bust that trust.
It's like I win the first year, and then the next couple years it's just been a toss up between Brian and Charlie.
The
Hey, at
streak
least I
must
use it
end.
when
It
I'm supposed
will.
to.
I think it was your case, Brian. You weren't what who was in the title match at Money in the Bank? That I think it was you and me just going for the belt while Charlie, Jeremy, and Jeff were going for the beef case.
Yes.
That
I
sounds
think
about right.
we were just be like, hey, let's just have a friendly title match between undisputed scholars.
And
Ay,
everybody
ay,
else
ay.
got mad because we didn't say anything beforehand. We just went ahead and did
Oh, it was like, yeah, you guys go for the beef case. We're just gonna go have fun with Goldie.
it.
But you know what? That's what I love about the Royal Rumble. It not only is it chaotic, there will be no more excuses. Chaos will reign. Everything is on the line. Everything is up for grabs. And we might just have a little special announcement about that later on in the show.
Ooh.
But before we get to all that, we have the goings on in WWE in the new year to cover, starting with the reemergence of the People's Champion.
Yeah, the Jinder Mahal.
Considering
The
what
Jinder has not been hindered. The People's Champion Jinder Mahal has officially returned.
well,
Oh yeah,
to be
The Rock came
fair,
back too, I guess.
considering the events of this past week that's been going on Twitter, slash
don't care
X
what
with Tony
I
Khan.
I
Jinder
don't
Mahal
care
pretty much
what
has become
yeah.
the people's champion.
I don't care what anybody says. I love when Tony Khan goes into chaos mode because everything goes crazy.
Okay, speaking of Tony Khan, when Jeff and I went to Prudential for that first episode of the first episode of Dynamite of the year, I just kept turning to him, and well, every time Tony Khan came out, when it was him introducing Dynamite, him introducing Rampage, and then him closing out the show, I just keep turning to Jeff. He is just rambling on, and like he is repeating himself. He is just, his eyes are literally bulged open, and we're just like, man, I just love how much of a wrestling fan he is. But my God, he is quite possibly one of the most awkward people to just experience live, because you're just like, is this just a character? Because I like, it just also makes me look back on um when he was with God, what's her name? God, I keep forgetting her name. The Ultimate Warrior's wife.
Dana.
Yeah. And that one time when they were like promoting like merchandise, and he's wearing that cap, and he just has his eyes bulged open, and we're just like, this this guy is just having the time of his life, but my God, he is just the most awkward individual you could just ever experience, and I appreciate that.
I I I know I said this when the last time we were at AEW, but I'm like, I'm just enjoying this now, no matter how much coffee he enjoys lately. The passion is infectious, and I know that we're all going to miss it when he stops doing that.
I don't know
And
if he's ever going to stop doing that. Hell, the final whatever speech he was giving while we were leaving, I'm just going, Jeff, he's still talking. It's like 5 minutes. He's still going on. Tony, stop talking. I want to go to White Castle. I'm starving.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed. He's gotta get his post-show White Castles. I mean, like, I love you, man, but chill out, dude.
but getting back to the topic at hand, okay,
Stop talking about wrestling. We need to talk
I,
about WWE.
I love how everybody got so pissed when Jinder Mahal came out, and it's like I'm so used to WWE mind that it's like, you know who's coming out after. It's not it's not just Jinder, dude. Come on. It's like everybody got so mad online, and I'm just like, come on, man. We've been doing this for how many years now? You know that he's coming out afterwards. So so it's
It's
like
real.
they
Yeah.
try to go for the shock factor. It's like it doesn't work anymore because we know you.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought it was gonna be Batista, because there were a lot of reports that Batista was gonna show up on WWE television. So as a possible headliner for this year's Hall of Fame. I was actually, I'm like, I wonder if it will be Batista. I actually kind of do want to hear
The
da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
only re-
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I thought it was The Rock was because I saw that photo when he was talking about the merger on ESPN with the XFL
Oh, I didn't know about that
and,
until after. So
and I guess
once
the
I heard that, I'm
USFL.
just once
But
that
it's like
yeah.
I saw the photo, and it's like you're not really thinking about it at the time you see the photo because they're talking about the merger and whatever. But when you see the photo and you see Nick Khan in the background, it's like, okay. They're
Now,
like right down the street from where they're going to be tonight. I think we're going to see The Rock.
yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that all that about the XFL until after the show. So I'm just like, oh, now it makes sense. Yeah, now it makes sense that The Rock would be the one.
And then let me
The
just say
great
that,
one.
okay, that was 15 minutes of absolutely nothing. And then it ended with 30 seconds of I want to be the head of the table. I'm like, did we need 15 minutes and 30 seconds
No.
to get to that point? Just do your little 2 minute bit with Jinder, get him out of the ring, and then say
This,
it.
the report saying that that segment went 8 minutes over time, you felt that 8 minutes. The one big criticism that I had with Raw last week is that minus The Rock revealing that he was going to go after the head of the table title, eh, not really a belt, but like the title of head of the table.
It is actually a title, technically. You're not wrong.
Um, minus that, last week's Raw, I called it a snore fest. Cause there were a good, like, Nia Jax and Becky Lynch was a good television match, and I I think the main event was Judgment Day versus the Creed brothers for the tag titles. I think,
Yeah, it was,
uh,
but it's like nothing happened.
but it was a good match to show what the Creed brothers can be like. They are future champion contenders. But the rest of Raw, I actually thought it was, yeah, I called it a snore fest because I had, no joke, fell asleep watching Raw a couple of times. This past week actually was a much better show with the Drew McIntyre CM Punk promo, which in all honesty, it actually makes me want to see Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk more than Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, or if anything, make that a triple threat match, just because I love how much they're like Drew is still involved with the world title picture. But when it comes to gender, him get like in a small way, I do agree with what Tony Khan wrote about, like him with the explanations, like he hasn't been on TV for how long other than just small cameos. When was the last time he actually won a match? So although we all knew Seth Rollins isn't losing that title, this is just basically a filler match for Royal Rumble until, at least until whatever the hell they're having him do at Royal Rumble. Uh it just begs the questions, like, is this just Jinder showing up just for this title match and then we'll just see him disappear again? Or is this actually a
I,
reemergence of just like he's now, I'm not going to say he's going to be in the world title picture. I mean, God, no, this is just a one-time match because, hey, he had a segment with The Rock last week. Yippee. Do you see him going to at least stop being a jobber? Is he going to be like like a mid card, lower mid card?
I don't think that he's gonna go. I think what the plan was to begin with was this was going to be a one and done, and then Jinder was going to go off and do his own thing, probably mid card, undercard, that kind of thing. And then Tony Khan went into chaos mode and did his little tweets. So it's like
Oh
I
boy,
think that this match,
Tony, you did it
I
again,
think
buddy.
I think that this was going to be like a 7 minute match tops. It was going to be like one of those title matches where it's like we know this isn't going to matter. This is going to be quick. This is going to be. I think this is going to get some time now. I think this is going to get some time, and if you do that, then you kind of have to. You, I'm not saying do something completely stupid, but I mean like you kind of got to roll with. Tony Khan did Jinder Mahal a favor now. Jinder Mahal's kind of hot topic in the wrestling world right now. So you kind of got to ride that a little bit, not to
I
the extent of what people are talking about online. Fuck around, give him the title, and have Seth win it back at the Roman. Don't do that. Don't do
There's
that.
always going to be someone who's going online who's going to be going for the most ridiculous possible takes. So
Yeah.
you can't
I'm like,
take that
don't.
seriously.
I'm like, don't do that. But I mean, like, you got to ride it a little bit. You got if people are defending gender, people are coming out in support of gender. I mean, like, ride with it a little bit. Have him be like a jobber to the stars for a bit. Have
He's
him
the
like
new
upper
Dolph
mid
Ziggler.
card. Have him losing to the bigger names, and then slowly phase him out to where he should be once all this dies down.
Like again, it's like again, I understand what he was going for with just like you people attack me because we announced that Hook is going to be in a world title match with Samoa Joe. But like if you compare, but if you like he's thinking like records wise, which most of the wrestling community does not, especially WWE marks. It's like when you look at Hook's record, I mean, he's only lost once in his entire AEW run, and compared to Jinder, which he didn't have a match, he didn't have like a single match last year, and his he's just back to just being a jobber. Ever since he lost the WWE Championship, he just was like, "Oh yeah, it's not. We're not gonna keep you at least in like we're not gonna elevate you to mid card. You're still gonna just be the jobber. Your value is little to none." So, and with that compared to someone like Hook, who was having an amazing record, it makes sense. Like someone like that can get a world title, even though, like Jinder, we know Hook's not gonna win. Like,
But it's also, I understand the WWE side of this too, because
oh,
yes,
absolutely.
Hook does have an amazing record, indeed. But his record for those matches are basically Rampage, which a very minuscule amount of people actually watch. So how much of that amazing record did you actually see on regular AEW TV
And
that
yeah, I
people actually
completely
watch?
agree. I
So it's
completely
like,
agree. It's like I get his argument, but it's like, well, WWE is also mainly on the wins and losses don't matter. It's all about the story more than the record. So you see both sides of each argument. And then when it came to like the wrestlers supporting Jinder and the wrestlers supporting Hook, I feel it became at that point, it's like now when it comes to the wrestling community, like with the actual wrestlers themselves, they're having fun with this situation because remember, most of these people are all best friends with one another. So they're all just basically having fun with this. And then you have the internet wrestling community, which is basically the smarks, the trolls and all that who are trying to make this or are trying to actually be like, well, Jinder can draw more than your entire roster, just basically trying to smear the wrestlers and all that. And that's like you want to have fun with it, but then there's also those groups of people who are just trying to be like are showing the tribalism and all that and just want to continuously
but
attack
that,
Tony.
and that's why it's like when Tony, I enjoy Chaos Tony, but it's also look at it, I see something pop up and it's like, oh, here we go. That's it.
Like
And then you get someone
Tony,
like Bischoff.
Tony, we love you, but put the phone down.
And
They were even talking about this on Busted Open this week, where like I think it was like Tommy Dreamer was like, okay, he's got to hire some like a social media guy who, even if his only job is just telling him, Tony, put the phone down. 15-minute timeout, put the phone down. Yeah, yes, I know you're right. I know you're right. You do have a good point, but still, put the phone down.
I mean, you could also
Or
you can compare this to like with Bischoff throwing his 2 cents, calling him a clown and doing all this and people pointing out you're basically doing something similar when you were running WCW, and the biggest example was telling Tony Schiavone to talk about the recording of Mick Foley winning the championship. Yeah, that'll put butts in the seats. It's that kind of same thing, but now it's just different nowadays because it's a different form of media. We have the social media, we have all that. So
You mean, are you trying to tell me the guy who wrote a book called Controversy Creates Cash is just trolling to egg people on for entertainment value? I don't believe it.
well, it's hard to tell in Bischoff's case because I actually don't know if he's actually be like, yeah, I just don't like this guy. So it's like, so to
It's
hell
like
with
it's
him.
hard to tell in tweets. It's like you gotta watch his podcast to actually understand whether he actually means what he's saying or not. Because he's gone off on Tony Khan multiple times
Yeah.
on
So that's
on
that's the
that
question.
podcast. So it's like, look, dude, Eric, I can understand because it's like Eric Bischoff did all these things that Tony Khan is doing first. Okay, he knows what happens at the end of it because it's like he saw what happened to WCW after he was done doing what he was doing. So it's like I can see like him trying to be like, "Hey, stop it! Stop trying to be WCW. That's where you know where that got us. Okay, stop doing everything that we were doing. You know where that got us. Okay, but then it's like, but then Tony Khan goes into injured gazelle mode and he lashes out, and then Eric Bischoff lashes back, and then it's just what, and then it's just like two schoolgirls fighting in the yard, doing a hand slapping bit, and that's basically what they're doing. And you've got the internet wrestling community egging it on because they can't help themselves. So it's
Twitter
like
is the most
Tony.
toxic environment.
It's like Tony. Just one tweet, one, because I know that you're gonna explode if you can't. Okay, one tweet for the situation and then log off.
Honestly, if he just
Just make
left
your
it with that
point.
first tweet, it
Just yeah,
the
that
fact that he
first
kept
tweet.
going with it.
Yeah, that first tweet. Make your point and leave. That's all you needed to do. It was the shit posting afterwards that got you in trouble, and always gets you in trouble.
So
You
now we're
always have a good you always have a good point in the first tweet, and then you go straight into shit posting. That's it.
it's now just now that world title match is going to get a lot more views than it probably was going to get earlier
It's
this week.
it's going to get a lot more views, and it's going to get a lot more time. It's probably going to get it's going to get at least one commercial break. Might get two.
I doubt it's going to get two. I'll give you one. Seriously, Jinder is not
Look,
that point that he can put on a two commercial match. Absolutely not. I'll give it 10 minutes tops.
this is the issue though. This is what I'm saying. It's like we know he can't do it. WWE knows he can't do it. But now they're going to try to prove they have something to prove now. So it's like I'm saying I'm worried
That's why they're
that they're going to attempt it.
That's why they're giving it 10 minutes. That's being generous. I think you were right there. They were going to probably make this at least a 6 or 7 minute match originally. But if this goes over 10 minutes, then I think the match is going to lose the fans. Cuz when you actually have someone like when you think of Jinder as a former champion and just look back on his title reign, and all his title matches are legit the same fucking match.
Which is awkward when
every
one of them
single
is
detail.
which is awkward when one of them is a Punjabi prison match. And it's the same match as all the others.
The literal only difference that between that and his other matches is that instead of the Bollywood boys, he has the great cheese helping him.
And that is far superior. But then again, we're just gonna have to see how this all pans out next week. But in the meantime, that also wasn't the only big news story that broke from WWE world. Because this past week we got a pretty damn interesting promo battle between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, where at least in the eyes of a lot of fans, it's looking like the chart for WWE's Royal Rumble is shaping up pretty clear.
I was expecting you to. I thought the big news from WWE is them letting go of Kevin Dunn, but because we get no more of like
No
this
more
type of
earthquakes and
no
zoom
more
ins
zooming
and
in, zooming out,
extreme close up.
different angle, different angle, different angle, different angle, different angle, zooming, 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 zooming. I'm not gonna miss that. All right, let me fix my camera now.
but it's what it, look, I love Drew's character now. I love what he's doing, and I love that they're letting him beat CM Punk on the mic, because he wrecked CM Punk on the mic
Oh,
during that mic
absolutely.
battle. That wasn't even close. And I think that's the way they're playing it with CM Punk right now. Like, he's like, character wise, he's not at this time. He's not gonna let loose, because they're playing the character like he's trying to lay low. He's trying to do right. Like, they're leaning into the criticisms of bringing him in. They're leaning into all that on both sides. So it's like, I like the idea of that, and I like that they let Drew go off the way that he did. And and I'm waiting for the point where it inevitably goes, where CM Punk finally just says fuck it and lets loose, because
That'll
that's where we're headed. And honestly, as Scarlett Tarek has stated, it's like that it it really makes me want to see CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre more than CM Punk Seth Rollins at this point, at this specific point in time, because we all know where we're headed.
hmm I
Okay.
will. The one thing that I really love about what they're doing with Drew, yeah, he is hands down the most complex character that's on Monday Night Raw right now. And I posted this a long time ago, and people blew me off. People of the internet blew me off and tried to find some way to argue with this. Drew McIntyre has now become the top heel of Raw. He surpassed the Judgment Day.
Hmm.
Because
Easy.
he's like Rhea Ripley is too cool for people to boo, and Judgment Day's big story right now is with R-Truth. So, like, he has full on surpassed everyone else. He is now the top heel of the brand, and I actually think it's brilliant because, again, he he's such a complex villain to the point of like you see where he's coming with when he's having his arguments, and it's Drew McIntyre. God damn, he could put on amazing matches. It makes sense that he is the top heel of the brand until Gunther loses the Intercontinental Championship and moves on to the world title picture. The, it's also just really just perplexed that the report is he still hasn't signed a new contract with WWE, because I just think he is someone they really it'll be a mistake if they let him go.
Yeah, because it's like there's also points in that promo where it could be like, we're going in the loser leaves town territory. where there were points in that promo where it's like maybe I should take a sabbatical away from this company, come back in 5 years like a conquering hero. Like
I would cry.
it's it's one of those where it's like that's why this promo was so interesting. It's like, as I said, it goes into everything that's going on right now. Okay, with how and why CM Punk was brought in, they're talking like CM Punk. They paid CM Punk all this money. Well, it's like where's all the money for everybody else? it's it's one of those things that casts doubt on Drew McIntyre's future, where he said in interviews that he wants to stay with the WWE. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. But it's like this is this is their version of casting doubt the way AEW was casting doubt on MJF. That's how I feel about this. Where it's like has he signed a contract? Has he not? And they're doing the whole rigmarole with MJF. It went on too long. It went on for like a year and a half. Where we're at the point he's been champion for a year. Of course, he signed a new contract. We're not dumb, but this they're keeping it close to the vest. It's like they're telling people he hasn't signed contract yet. He's talking about maybe I'll go away for 5 years, come back conquering hero. They'll love me again, that kind of deal. And talking about they signed this dude for this much amount of money. Where's the money for all the rest of us? And like he's going to bat for all the people in the back when the people in the back probably really don't care, which is why he turned in the first place, because it was the same thing with Jey Uso. It's like, am I the only one who cares about this? That's why he turned in the first place. So they're leaning into that. I'm just like that. That is why I love that promo. It casts everything in doubt. It brings everything full circle. Everything that's been talked about is in this one character. And he just let it all out, let loose. And I'm excited for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk locking up in the Royal Rumble, even though we all know how that's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like there's definitely a consensus on, as well as I do, that we're going to be absolutely be revisiting this in the weeks ahead. But until that day, we still got plenty of news from AEW coming our way. Even from the first week of the new year, when we finally, not only did we finally find the identity of the devil in Adam Cole Bebe, but Tarek, you and I were in attendance for the full faction reveal of the Undisputed Kingdom.
I wish you recorded my reaction to when Undisputed was just plastered all over the Titantron. At that point, I think I told you this, Brian. I literally stood to my feet and I'm just like, yes, they're undisputed, just like me.
And my reaction was like, oh, hey, they're bringing back the Undisputed Era. That's great. And then I just heard Tarek say that, and I'm like, oh, crap. They totally are, aren't they?
And throughout the entire promo, you just hear me yell, "'Cause you're undisputed." I was having the blast.
Once again, I am not a fan of feeding anyone's ego, much less your own, but damn it, the timing was too good. I gotta give it credit for that one. Like, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes the chips just fall in that direction.
It's all about the boom.
And let me just say this, watching it on TV, the first time they cut that promo was fantastic. the way that they did the reveal itself and the promo that they cut in the ring, the first time they cut it, with all the mannerisms and the Wardlow bit, and Roderick Strong noticing Wardlow not really being on board with what Adam Cole was saying, that that was all great. It actually was. That was a very good episode of Dynamite. It was like
Oh, it was
like
great.
a full reset of it. It was like the ending of the full reset. You had at World's End, where the reset began. Whole bunch of stuff happened. New champion, out with the old, in with the new.
Like
That
the best way to explain that is throughout 2023, AEW was the MJF verse. Everything was revolving around him as champion, and he was branching out to multiple storylines to help all the other wrestlers, uh at least that he's involved with, become relevant. And yeah, it makes it all one big connected universe. And with now 2024, you are absolutely right. With Samoa Joe winning the title at World's End, with the reveal of Adam Cole as the devil uh, at that show as well, and now with this, it is a brand new era. We have a brand new top heel group, and we have a brand new. I'm just gonna say it. It's like no matter how hard they're gonna try and have us boo this man, it's impossible to boo Samoa Joe. He's like Rhea Ripley. He's just too cool to boo. You hear this crowd at Daly's place, and they're just going, "Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Joe, 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 Joe." He is this a cool. He's just too cool to boo. And you now have the branches now coming off of Joe with Swerve Strickland, Adam Page, Hook, and then eventually Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom. I'm just and now Roderick with the hint of Roderick Strong going for the international title. It's just one continue a brand new. It's a brand new era. It's a brand new story tree. And I guess I'm referencing Loki to those who actually saw the second season. He's just branching out in this now brand new AEW, and I'm in.
yeah,
Pun
it's like
intended, I am all in on what the possibilities are, and the championship committee. I love that idea. I want the reveal that he's the championship committee.
And you know what? No matter what they do, just that thing alone, like again, I've been a Samoa Joe fan for decades at this point.
hmm
I was just like, okay, that was okay, it's cool. He's absolutely deserving champion. He's the next rightful guy. But it wasn't until he mentioned the championship committee and how he outlined how he's going to handle his championship reign. I'm like, that was the moment where it solidified. Okay, this is going to be something not just fun, but also fresh and new. That's what really got me.
and it's one of those, like, I think, because I'm one of these people, I think the majority of the crowd and majority of the people watching at home were ready to move on from the MJF first. I feel like it was getting to the point where it was losing its luster, where it's like, okay, I'm good. Let's move on. Let's get something new. Let's let somebody else. Let's let somebody else have time at the top of the card. It's like we did all this with MJF. This devil reveal is taking a little bit longer than it should. Okay, if it had gone any longer than it did, then then there was going to be a problem. but I think that now you get the full reset, you get the new champion, you get the new heel faction, you get a bunch of new talent coming in and doing on and showcasing themselves. You got Deonna Purrazzo showing up, and she's going to be going after the women's title
That was a fun reveal. That
as
was a
she
fun
should.
reveal, yeah.
And there's the possibility in the near future of Mercedes Varnado showing up. But it's like you need out with the old, in with the new. I was done with MJF. I'm ready for the Samoa Joe saga, and then they kind of killed a little bit in Daly's place because we're gonna come out and run the same exact promo, word for word, beat for beat. But we're gonna have a match first.
I said this before we started recording about this particular topic. I feel like the idea of it was good because the whole purpose of it was to put a spotlight on this new Roderick Strong, not the Roderick Strong. This is now a brand new Undisputed Kingdom new Roderick Strong, who is now wanting to go for the international title. It was a great presentation for him. The only flaw was what you said, Brian, was Adam Cole's promo, which was the exact same as last week's. The way they would have worked this better is if Roderick Strong coming out and they had the clip last week of Adam Cole's promo. They didn't need to have Adam Cole show up. They didn't need to repeat the Wardlow face bit. If they just now emphasize, okay, here's Roderick Strong. Has the Kingdom behind him. Like Ring of Honor champs the Kingdom. This is a brand new Roderick Strong. He's hungrier. He's ready to put some gold. He's ready to show the Undisputed Kingdom is something to be feared. Like, it's obvious this whole storyline is just for the inevitable MJF versus Adam Cole. We're not going to get that for a long time. Let's now put our main focus. Sorry. Let's now have it focus on everyone else in the group. Like at first it'll be Roderick Strong, and when he inevitably beats Orange Cassidy for the international title. And then the focus will go on to Wardlow and his big story onto him becoming the next AEW World Champion. Who knows when that's going to be? It'll probably be at like the end of the year. Closer to when Adam Cole can actually step back in the ring. Now I lost my train of thought on this one with where I was going with it. It was a great idea. I wouldn't say that it hurt it a lot. It just lost some points with that because you don't need to repeat it. It's basically Vince McMahon booking of just repeating your stuff each week. And it's not a good look, but now with this whole storyline, the best way to this new era of AEW, the best way to look at it, it's World's End was a season finale, and now this is the beginning of the new season for AEW. And small bits like that aside, I'm looking forward to now seeing what the product of AEW can bring now that, yes, Joe is champion. We have a brand new heel faction. I don't know if it'll be. I guess they'll keep them as a top heel faction, which branches out with something that we Jeff and I even thought about when we were at Prudential. Are they gonna are they doing something with Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaimed? Are they gonna have like the idea of the Guns possibly reuniting with their dad, or like maybe them becoming just a possible bigger gold faction. Who knows? And like turning that faction face. We have Swerve Strickland, who is just, his ranks are just rising and rising and rising and rising and rising. And Adam Page's stock is now building back up, rising and rising and rising back to where it was when he was one of the most complex characters. And to be frank, he's still one of the most complex characters, because now it's a repeat of like him. He's gone back to drinking, but instead of him being sad and alone, he's now angry, and he's still possibly aligned with the Bucks, who they just revealed as Sting's final opponents for Revolution, with
And
him
and there's your
him and
segue,
Darby.
ladies and gentlemen.
To where it's like, okay, it's now a different arc for these characters, but they're like, the beats are still there. But yeah, the beats are still there, but it's just a now different arc. And it's really kind of intriguing to see where these characters can go. And as Jeff said, segue to Sting, to the announcement of Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. We now have this where we were all thinking, what could Sting's final match for Revolution be? And when you really think about it in the long run, a tag team match actually makes more sense than him possibly having a one-on-one, because yeah, he's still doing these huge spots and doing and still putting himself on the line in these matches, but the man still, he's in his 50s. He's now reaching that point where he can't really have a one-on-one match. I mean, I'll even reference it because he's still involved. He's basically being the wingman for Sting. We saw what happened when Ric Flair having a one-on-one match as his potential final match. The man nearly like just he just crashed, and we
That
don't want
wasn't even
something
a
similar.
one-on-one. That was another tag match too.
Yeah, that's right. It was a tag match. I had a brain fart with that one.
Him and Andrade versus
Just
Jeff Jarrett and Jay
yeah,
Lethal.
that's right. And Jay, yeah, that's right. But it's one of those things, like, you just, the possibility, like the potential risks of Sting having a like similar situation, especially with the idea of him facing Darby, and most likely it's gonna be uh like a street fight-esque, because dude, it's Darby. Of course he's gonna have that kind of match. It makes more sense having it be someone who is known to be safe workers like the Young Bucks. Now, I can't wait to see how they're gonna build up to that one.
Oh, I know exactly how they're going to build up to it, because they're say before they went on their sabbatical, on their hiatus, they said that they were going to start being heel characters that lean into the criticisms of them backstage and online. So everything you've heard said about the Bucks are about to come out on live TV. So
And at
it's
that
like,
point, that's really the only thing you can do in order to salvage anything from that whole stupid mess with Punk last year. You gotta do it. You gotta meet it head on. You can't run from it.
and when they do the ultimate dick move and steal a victory in Sting's last match, oh, the heel heat's got to be immaculate.
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking the exact same thing when they announced. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna piss a lot of people off. And I will say, just from this show, did anyone else got nervous with Takeshita basically beating the shit out of Sting? Oh man, those
Almost.
I wasn't nervous for Sting. I was nervous for Darby, because he was ragdolled him the entire match. 20 minutes of,
I'm sorry,
of
those knees to
Takeshita
Sting was
just
just like,
ragdoll and Darby Allin just throwing him everywhere, not caring where he was landing and what he was landing on. I'm
I
just
will
like,
say, in the whole regarding the whole Sting situation, I don't think you need to really beat around the bush with Sting. I don't think you need to treat him with kid gloves. Mostly because everything I've seen, I think Sting has a lot more common sense than Ric Flair does. He knows what his body can and cannot handle. He's a lot more grounded in that way. And I really do not think that if he wants to go out, he wants to go on a high note, not being the sad old tired man with too much ego who doesn't know when to quit and just bow out gracefully.
oh, I think this will be a 5-star match.
I'll put it this way in simple terms. Okay. Darby takes the crazy stuff from the Bucks. Sting takes the super kick parties.
And he does
That's all
one crazy high spot because he
with
has to.
with a crazy high spot on Nick Jackson, because that's just what they do. But it's like
That's true.
it's it's a very simple formula. Just keep it paint by numbers, do what you do in a Sting tag team match, and don't have the Bucks do their crazy shit on him. Have the Bucks do their crazy shit on Darby Allin. That's how you do it. That's how it works. And then you don't have to worry about it. Sting does his scorpion death drop off a high fuck structure, whatever it may be.
Just watch.
And then they take it home, with the Young Bucks pulling a dick move and and uh and beating Sting.
Just watch. They make it a death match, and the final thing you see of Sting is the ring blowing up, actually blowing up, and we just never see Sting again.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I want to see
I
it.
like it.
Like you just see Darby and Sting just passed out after this just crazy death match, and they just
And then
blow it up.
kaboom.
Kaboom. And it's not just
Wrestling is over.
And then
Sting
you
will
see
never
2
see
weeks
him
later,
again.
Darby, and then you see 2 weeks later, Darby Allin's doing skateboard tricks online.
Do
It's like,
it.
I
you
already
never see
died
Sting again.
once.
He's now going to climb Mount Everest.
And with
Oh,
that,
it's like we don't get a good thank you Sting, like on the camera as him waving goodbye. You just basically, the show ends with the explosion, and then like they still get the thank you Sting for the crowd, but for us watching at home, it's just like, that's it, he's dead. You're never gonna see him again.
now that I want to see that more than anything else. I want to just go like, okay, it's showtime. Okay, show's over. Kaboom.
Darby Allin comes back with like a more greenish makeup, and it's zombie Darby. Come back from the dead.
Don't you just love fantasy booking on this show? It's a delight.
Oh, I love it.
But I'll tell you what, speaking of fantasy booking, as I alluded to earlier, it's Royal Rumble time, which here at the Scholars of Wrestling show can only mean one thing. Not only is it time for the Royal Rumble, but it's time for the annual Royal Rumble prediction game. A game that you can play. You don't have to be a scholar. You just got to be bold enough to make your predictions. And hey, if you win, you are entered to win a gift card to the WWE eShop. So you might be asking yourself, okay, sounds good. How do I play the game? How do I put in my predictions? Well, the predictions are going live this weekend. By the time you're seeing this, they might actually be open and ready to accept your predictions right now. Check in the description below. All the relevant links will be there. And Yeah, just click the link, put in your predictions, and join in the biggest game that the scholars run every single year, and you can be a part of it. So check in the link below, put in your predictions, and let's get this party going.
Royal Rumble is always the most fun time to be a wrestling fan. And now add a little more zest to that fun and just thinking, okay, let's go ahead. These are my numbers. Let's add a little more fun to this. Let's add a more. Come on, guys. You got it. Yay, got me a point. No, don't be eliminated. No. It adds just so much more fun to the Royal Rumble game, to the Royal Rumble with this game.
Unless
Oh.
you're that stooge who picks 3 numbers who get eliminated immediately. I do that all the time.
Like you have that, you pick the 3 numbers and all 3 of them are just like lower to jobber level guys. Oh, that's always the worst.
But it makes the ride is so much fun. So now is your time to join. Click in the link below, put in your predictions, and hey, get ready for the Royal Rumble together. And with that note, that is this week's show of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. You know what we think, but now we're turning it over to you, not just for your predictions, but your opinions too. What do you think is going to happen in Sting's final match? When is the Rock Roman actually going to happen? Is Punk going to win the Royal Rumble? No matter what you think, we want to hear from you all across the internet. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, X, Instagram, whatever you got, we want to hear from you. So for all of those who join the conversation on Twitter, Tarek, where can they find you?
You can find me praising the story on SmackDown, since we didn't bring up SmackDown, the story of Nick Aldis versus Roman Reigns being the best thing on that show at the Avataric.
And Brian, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Atomic Beanpole.
And you can find me just enjoying the wonderful month of January for the world of wrestling at I'm Robbie Rage.
I love
Join
Nick
the-
Aldis as SmackDown general manager.
Underrated, severely underrated. Who knows? Maybe he'll enter the Royal Rumble. That would be a fantastic plus. But hey, we're gonna have to wait and see. It's only a matter of weeks until the Royal Rumble. It's right around the corner. But you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
The road to Royal Rumble continues on. Join us, won't you?